I'll set up a second time later in the day and just take a second group out. So we'll see. I can get some good miles in.
That's right. You might not want to do that.
Well, no, it's good training.
We'll
it's
see.
Good training. Yeah, I mean, I run anywhere from 12 to 14 miles on a pretty regular basis, so hiking's not so bad.
Hi there, John.
Hi, Jen.
How you doing? All right, good to hear. So, everybody's on?
Hello.
3 of the 4 of us. I just sent Chuck a text. I don't know if he forgot or if he's not available.
Okay. We can wait a little bit longer, or
we can wait just a few minutes and see if he responds to my text or joins the meeting.
All right, sounds good.
We could introduce ourselves. John, I'm Bruce. We've talked on the phone and traded some emails.
I'm Crystal. Nice to meet you, John.
Hello, Crystal.
I'm Nikki. We chatted briefly on Facebook when you sent the chapter a message. I was the one who responded.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So, just give you a little quick insight of what's going on. I did touch base with Bruce. I did talk with Kate Lemon, and I do have a YouTube channel. It's called Michigan Pathways, and my channel kind of helps out beginners. I started off in 2019 in the beginning, kind of wanting to get on the North Country Trail. Where do I start backpacking? Didn't realize we had a whole trail going right through my backyard. Thinking, well, this is a good place to start. So out of that journey, at the end of 2019, I did just a quick run up to Asable East. And I stayed up there for one night, got rained on, snowed, didn't even expect it. And said, you know what, this is something I'd like to try, but you know, I'd like to be able to help people along the way. So that's where I kind of got the idea of Michigan Pathways. So it kind of helps out the beginners, everything from gear to now the trail. I want to be able to go through each chapter and kind of, you know, see what we got, see what you guys have to offer along the trail to somebody who wants to join in the area. I was just on with Chief Noondays the other day. So I did speak with Jane Norton and a couple of people from there. So a lot bigger.
Hey, John. Yeah. John, if I could join in, was that Noonday's meeting? That was you joined and listened in on their meeting?
Correct. That was their meeting, and they had a couple. It started a few minutes late, so they kind of stayed over a little bit longer. So that was definitely a huge thing to see. It really kind of very coordinated, and right now it seems like everything's going pretty good after I got the hang of it the other night. So that was a good thing.
John's a brand new Zoom user.
Oh, yay.
First Zoom meeting was the other day. This was going to be his first one if he didn't join Noonday the other day.
Yeah, this was oh my God.
It takes some getting used to.
It is. Both my boys are in college, and that's how they do all of their classes. And I was like, how hard is it? Oh, it's so easy, Dad. Really? How? Show me.
At least you started with Zoom. When you get the other ones added in, it's way more complicated. We use WebEx for work, and there are still some people that have struggled to adapt. So you're not alone. It's a big learning curve.
So real quick, getting back to everybody, how did you guys get involved with the North Country Trail and what you're doing each day?
Well, I can start, me being the oldest, I suppose. For me, I've always loved the outdoors. I like hiking. I've done some backpacking, and I was still working, but the kids had moved out of the house. So I was looking for some more activity, and I kind of focused on volunteer activity. And I tried a few different things local, and then eventually discovered the North Country Trail. And it wasn't real close to home, but I connected with the nearest chapter to me, which is the Baw Beese Chapter. And I started coming out to their monthly work days. And I didn't show up all that much at first. I'd say the first couple of years, but eventually started becoming a more frequent participant, and it's been 7 or 8 years since that I've been involved.
Very nice. Good to hear. How about you, Crystal?
I got involved maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It was after I retired, I think, and just found at our local festival, the North Country Trail booth, and I had never heard of it before ever. And the people there were really nice and talked to me for a few minutes. And I thought, well, this is something I would like to do. And so I think I just started hanging out, or maybe I met at one of the cleanup days or something like that, and started hanging out. I thought, I like these people and I like being outside, and I love being just outdoors and doing active things. So that's how I became involved.
Very cool. It's always a good thing.
Yeah.
How about you, Nikki?
So I am an avid outdoors woman. I hunt, I hike, I backpack, I kayak, anything that's outdoorsy, I do it. And have for most, I didn't grow up getting to do vacations and things. So if we had a family vacation, it was camping because it was cheap and close. So that kind of got me into my beginner camping experience. And then my husband and I are more on the adventurous side. So we found North Country Trail because we had wanted to, we normally backpack in national parks, but we had a year about 3 years ago where we didn't have a whole lot of time. So we originally were going to plan to hop over and do part of the Appalachian. And then we found North Country Trail was 3 miles from our house here in Jonesville. So we started looking into that and decided to do that for our anniversary trip. And I found North Country Trail's Chief Baw Beese Chapter by starting to do some cleanup on my own over by Baw Beese, and then reached out to Bruce through the North Country Trail page on how to get more involved in helping with the trail because I was so excited about it. But really, I fell in love with North Country Trail. I've hiked all over in Canada and the United States. And I love the group of people that are involved with North Country Trail. I love the way that the property owners interact with keeping the trail as off-road as possible. And I think it's a really, really unique program that we are so fortunate to have so many miles here in Michigan to utilize. So yeah, it's just kind of convenience, I guess, was the starter, but then passion took over. So
Yeah, it kind of leads that way. After I had my trip just last year. I had 2 of them actually. I had Pictured Rocks, and then I had the from Grand Sable to Quantum.
Oh, well, that's fun section.
Yeah, it was. So right off the bat, when the pandemic came in, everything was scrapped for our Pictured Rocks. We couldn't do anything. So I'm like, bummer. I'm like really wanting to do something here. And I'm just like, if I have to go stealth camping, I've got to, get out, because I was just itching after my last one. And then all the new gear I just bought. I thought, well, finally the restrictions came up and we said heck with it. So we ended up going from Grand Sable to Deer Park. And that's when we ended up there. Buddy had to get off. So we just said heck with it the rest of the way. So we definitely want to finish it up. So
yeah, that's a really, really nice section. You'll really enjoy when you get past the fall to Promenade Falls and start heading south. That's a lot of fun too. It's not very well traveled, or heavily traveled. So
yeah,
it's a very, very fun experience.
Yeah, I stopped at actually the rest area right over the bridge, and the North Country Trail dumped right into that parking lot. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that. I'm thinking, that's a North Country Trail sign. Oh, I've got to see this. So I jumped down there for about a mile while I was waiting for the other guys. And well, it's a mile I did.
Yep.
So it was.
I hit that mile regularly. Yeah. I have a cabin up in the UP, so we always stop there and get a little leg stretching, and that's the same deal. It's a nice little stretch.
Doesn't the trail goes from the bridge right through the state park there, right? On the north side.
Yep.
On the south side, it eventually gets over to the Wilderness State Park, but that's got to be 10, 15 miles west of the bridge, something like that. But
yep.
Yeah, because I think I was coming across 28 and I saw the signs there on US 28 and I thought, holy cow, I'm even crossing it here.
Yep.
So it
That's
was
right.
pretty neat. So, because I did fall in love with it. I don't know if you guys know Annie Nielsen,
Yeah.
the work that
I
she's
don't,
done and stuff.
not personally, but I followed her when she was doing her long distance hike before she got sick.
Yeah, I did too. I was like each week waiting for it to come out and then so cool. I did
Yep.
talk with her the other night. She lives pretty much the trail's in her backyard now. Literally walk out of the door and it's onto the trail. So she's doing quite a bit up there in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And I did touch base with Alex Mayer from 5 Star Aces. And he did the big Dupers tour. He hiked across the UP there. He's got a really good video on that. So those two really felt, I fell in love with the trail then. And they do a really good video sections on that. So, but it's great getting to know everybody, definitely. So Chuck's not joining?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I sent him a text and he did not respond, so we'll have to assume that he's not going to join us.
Okay. Well, Bruce, I did send you a list of questions. If you had a chance to look those over.
Sure. Yeah, I did, and I don't have them in front of me, but we can take them one at a time if you'd like.
All right. So real quick, I've got 4 altogether. I think more will come out. So what can a long distance hiker expect on the North Country Trail in your area as far as camping, water supply, and resupply of materials?
Okay. Our area is mainly Hillsdale County, the section of trail we're responsible for. And unfortunately, our stretch does not have any, or I should say many, designated campsites. The trail does go through Lost Nation state game area. And as a state game area in Michigan, camping is allowed certain times of the year, but there's no designated campsites. So the DNR site has specific rules. It's basically during hunting season when you're allowed to camp. Like a lot of stretches of the trail in the lower peninsula and throughout the trail in 8 states, the trail often follows roads. It's not all off-road at this point. So through our stretch, there's short sections of trail, and then you do some road walk. And then we have basically Lost Nation, which is at the south part of the county. There's a short stretch just north of the game area before you get to Osseo. And then into Hillsdale, the trail connects with a Hillsdale multi-use trail, which they call the Baw Beese Trail. Goes right through the city of Hillsdale. And then on the north side, it's a lot of road walk until you get to Litchfield, in which there's a few mile stretch in Litchfield and a campsite. Just south of Litchfield is it's on the map. It's a private property owner, but with advance notice, they let you camp there. I should say they. We think of the guy as Mac, but it's Mac and his wife. So they. As far as supplies and water, that's not a problem. There's the town of Osseo. There's the town of Hillsdale, the town of Jonesville, and the town of Litchfield that you'll pass through. The trail essentially goes through right through each of those towns. So there's stores, so supplies and water at many places. There is a source of water through the game area. It follows a branch of the St. Joe's River. So it's water you can use if you were camping in the game area.
Okay. So, being in a lot of towns and stuff like that, so, so we're good on the water and such like that.
Yeah, you could hike any stretch of our chapter and not be more than a mile away from a fresh water source that's accessible.
Okay.
Same
So-
goes for resupply. I mean, the trail literally goes right in front of 2 post office, and then in Jonesville, you're less than a half mile off the trail to get to Jonesville's post office, and then the trail cuts right in front of Walmart in Jonesville and is less than a quarter of a mile off of some smaller grocery stores in Hillsdale. So plenty of opportunities for resupply and water.
Okay. So road, and we're a lot of concrete, blacktop, gravel road.
I'd say predominantly gravel road with short stretches of paved.
Okay. All right, cool.
Like the
So-
first 11 miles are entirely gravel road. And then you come into Lost Nations, which is fully trail with short segments of road in between. And then the only other spot where it would be paved road would be in the north side of Litchfield. As you're getting ready to exit Lost Nations, you're on a paved road for a short stretch before you pick up more dirt roads.
Now, when somebody new, I learned this by mistake. I didn't print my maps out in color. I went with the topographs. And would you guys suggest a colored map compared to a black and white topograph?
I mean, obviously, it's important to have map reading skills, so you should go with what you're most comfortable with. But other than down in Lost Nations, there's full cell service in our chapters area. So it's really whatever you are most comfortable with, and our chapter does a really good job of marking the trail, so it's really hard to get lost unless you're trying.
Now, do you guys have any trail angels or anybody in those areas that would be able to help out somebody if they needed to?
Yeah, so I would say we don't necessarily have formal, but typically what happens is somebody contacts either Bruce through email or me through social media, and then we send an email out to our chapter, and whoever is available typically will be able, we're usually pretty good about finding somebody to help get people where they need to be.
Okay.
It's not like, I know some chapters have like a designated list of contacts that you can reach out to directly. Ours is more informal through our entire chapter.
Right. It's more informal. It's nothing like out at the Pacific Crest Trail or something. They have famous trail angels. In the early days, there's only been 15 people or so that have completed the whole stretch of the North Country Trail. And those people all journalized their travels and then handed over their notes to headquarters in Lowell, Michigan, North Country Trail Association. And they would keep those notes with where they stayed and what private property owners would let them stay on their property in various areas throughout the 8 states. And so getting a hold of headquarters, the North Country Trail Association in Lowell, or contacting a chapter leader in that designated area is always the best way to find out, who to talk to or where can you stop for the night.
Okay. Good to know that. So,
All right, Chuck, you joined us.
Hi, Chuck.
Hello. A little late, huh?
A little bit. Turn your phone sideways. We'll see you better. There you go.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Chuck, this is John. We're talking to John about the trail.
Okay. Hi, John.
how you doing, guys? I think I've lost something here.
Uh-oh.
Oh, uh-oh.
I can't see anybody.
We can see you still, so you're still connected.
All right, I don't know. I X'd out of something, or I hit my button here, and I know my
Have
Google
you-
page.
Have you lost Zoom completely?
Yeah,
Okay, down at your icons down at the very bottom, there should be like a movie camera in blue. That's your Zoom button. It should bring it back.
there we go.
Yay!
Thank you, Bruce.
From
All right, so Chuck is with us.
Yeah,
Chuck's
late.
a trail angel. If you call Chuck, he'll pick you up and take you down the road. He'll even take you to the store if you buy him some beer.
One-way trip.
Very good. Well, glad to meet you, Chuck, and glad to be able to sit in this evening. So, covering the water, camping, that type of thing, and resupply. Moving on to gear. Question is, if someone was hiking through your chapter trail section, if there's any specific gear they should be carrying besides the top 10 essentials? I try to always push, even if they're day hiking, at least to have the top 10. Don't go out. You're going out for a mile or so, you'll be all right. But if you're covering any more than 5 to 10 miles, you need to have the top 10 essentials on you. So is there
I'm
any
going to
other?
back up and say that I think you should always have it. I'm a medical first responder, and I'm good friends with someone who's a search and rescue out on Appalachian Trail, and it's not uncommon for people to get horrifically injured on simple day hikes that are even 1 or 2 miles. One of their recent rescues, a girl fell off of a larger hilly area, tumbled down and broke her leg in 3 places and had to be brought out. And we don't have those kind of resources necessarily here. If somebody's responding, it's going to be fire department and EMTs, and they're not necessarily as well versed in how to get you safely off the trail as somebody who's in search and rescue would be. So you should still be prepared, even if you're coming out on a shorter hike, especially in our Lost Nations area. It is some very steep inclines.
Okay.
And water crossings, so you should still be vigilant, even in an area as not remote as our chapter.
That's what I was looking for. Always be prepared. That's
Yeah.
Both my boys were scouting. I was a firefighter and EMT for 5 years. So yeah, definitely word of mouth, you got to be prepared either way.
Yeah.
So let somebody know where you're going, and then when you're going to be back and that type of thing. So that's definitely a must there. So besides, is there any other kind of gear that somebody should be having through that area?
I mean, in Lost Nations, it's really going to depend on your weather. In the summertime, you can traverse it without spikes or trekking poles, as long as you're comfortable with that. But if you're hiking in Lost Nations in the wintertime, it gets very icy and can get some deeper snow. So you should be prepared for the trail conditions depending on the season. The other thing that I find helpful with our section is, because we do have a lot of road hiking, is to have a lighter weight, more cushioned shoe, because it will make your travels a little more comfortable than necessarily being in hiking boots while you're on those dirt roads. They are rocky, so that extra cushion can get you some extra miles.
Found that out the hard way.
Yep.
How long
But
is
otherwise, we're pretty straightforward, I would say, unless somebody else has something that they swear by. But the 10 essentials really covers it for our area.
Yeah, I agree.
How about you, Crystal? What do you think?
I agree.
Okay. So the Lost Nation, how long is that section, mile wise, roughly?
Just in Lost Nation?
Yeah,
Roughly 9 from end to end.
9. Okay, good day hike from. I haven't been over that way, so it sounds like something I would definitely want to try out.
It's nice for lower Michigan. It's one of the more rugged, rustic-y type hikes that you're going to find, unless you're up in like Manistee Forest. Really, anything south of Grand Rapids, that's probably your best bet for getting some isolation and elevation.
Okay, good to know, definitely. So, anybody else got anything else to chime in for next one?
Well, in Lost Nation, and I would say throughout our section of the trail, there's many places to parking areas to start or stop a day hike or a continuous hike. And you mentioned mapping earlier. If you wanted to, John, I could show you the online map if it was of interest to you.
If you have one, I'd love to be able to see it.
Well, let me show you this. I'm going to share my screen. But you have to allow me to share, I guess. Yeah, that's right. I'm used to being a host, so I always share, but I don't know. Do you see, I'm hitting share screen on my side. Are you getting a note? Okay, you did something.
It says you're running out of time. We've removed the 40-minute limit on your group as a gift. I'm loving it. So I do have a button that says green, says share screen.
Yeah, that's for you to share. I don't know how you enable other people to share.
All right, I got one participant can share at a time or multiple participants share simultaneously. That's all I've got.
I think if you click participants, it'll pull up the participants list. And then if you hover over Bruce's name, there's a more option. And I think it's under that. Don't quote me. I don't use Zoom as much as I use WebEx.
Yeah, that one I'm not 100% certain on.
Oh,
It's all right.
Okay.
Not a huge thing. Actually, let me show you this that Nikki mentioned it earlier. I think this will show up on my phone, which is common. I don't know if this will show up very well. The light's not good. It doesn't help, does it? I don't know if you can
Went back.
you can see the icon here. This Explorer icon takes me right to the North Country Trail map. It's a download through ERSI, and that map tells me where the trail is. So anytime I'm out hiking, as long as I can get a satellite signal, cell signal, I know where the trail is.
What's that app called?
It's Explorer. Let me see. Yeah.
There's a few of them in this area that work really well for North Country Trail.
Yeah, it's not the only one.
Yeah. They won't state necessarily North Country Trail because North Country Trail being a continuous trail that's always changing, they tend to break it up into what people would log as day hike sessions, but Gaia also has it. All Trails has our section, like the entire North Country Trail is mapped in All Trails in our area. There's the Avenza maps that are available through North Country Trail. Those are all accurate and ready. So there's lots of options in our area.
As well as printed maps. The North Country Trail Association, you can order them online or you can stop in at the headquarter office and buy printed maps that are printed in sections. So it might not be like per chapter. It's not exactly the setup that way, but it's a specific stretch of trail. So it would include our chapter, maybe half of Noonday's chapter, for example.
Okay, well, that's always good to know. So, yeah, I used, when I did my last one, I was through the North Country Trail. I was able to do that. And then that's how I printed all mine out. I think I had like 2 sets. I left one at home for everybody and then one for myself. So
I mean, obviously that's going to be your best and safest bet is utilizing the tools that are through the North Country Trail Association. Everything else is just user database, so it might not be the most accurate compared to what North Country Trail Association has available.
Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, specifically the North Country Trail maps, whether it's the online or printed, have the information you'd be looking for beyond the trail, like parking areas, campsites, shelters, are all designated on those maps.
Now, is there a price for those maps, or I mean, how does someone?
The Avenza ones are downloadable to your phone and free.
Okay. What
But
about
the paper ones, I think you have to pay for.
Yeah, they're not much. The printed ones are a couple bucks, I think.
okay? It's good.
But
to
you
know.
can download and print the Avenza one. So you can download it to a computer instead of your phone and then print it from there for free.
Okay.
Mhm.
Very cool. So definitely a multitude of tools that somebody can definitely use. So, sorry. So next question, what sort of trail maintenance does your chapter have? Any kind of, I want to say it, challenges that you guys face each year when going out and doing the maintenance?
Chuck,
I
you
can
can
take a
take
look.
that one first.
Well, mainly just amounts to keeping the brush out of there and the trees cut out of the trail. And freshening up the blazes every once in a while, but our biggest hurdle is the river crossings. The DNR won't let us build bridges or anything across them, so we just try and drag a log across here and there. So
So why wouldn't I mean, is there an issue with the state, or is it just something the DNR won't allow you guys to do, or how's that working out?
I'm not exactly sure. It's designated a state game area, and that's a different set of rules than like the state recreation areas. So it's more for hunting. The property's all paid for with hunter money and all that. So they try and push the hunting more for it than for recreation.
Yeah, Chuck's right. This is an issue that's all the way at the headquarter level. It's not resolved yet. It's something that we're hoping will change in the future. But as Chuck says, the trail in Michigan anyway goes through a number of game areas. We have the one game area with our section of trail. The DNR contacts have not allowed us to do anything other than maintain the trail and paint the blazes. That is true in most other game areas in the state. There is one game area in the Lowell area that has been more willing to work with the trail folks. Not sure about bridges, but they have been allowing more work in there to improve the trail than the other game areas. So we're hoping that in the future, it's something that we'll be allowed to do. Because Chuck says, the typical maintenance is clearing the brush, clearing the trail, making sure it's clear to day hike or to backpack. A lot of trees in the natural areas, particularly in the game area, that we need to clear out with chainsaws. And then the big challenge is the river crossings, which is typically handled by a log across the water. We'd build a bridge if we were allowed to.
Well, you'd think that would definitely help anybody in the area or people just crossing through. I mean, if North Country was willing to build something like that, it would definitely take something off the state.
Preaching to the choir. You couldn't have said it better. I think you repeated what I said for the last 5 years. So, yep, we agree.
That's a huge safety deal. I mean, you're just putting people at risk that don't need to be at risk.
At the same time, our rivers are not like what you would see up in the UP. So the most you would be crossing through is maybe mid-thigh high depths of water, and they're not fast rapids. So it's not like you have to plan like you would up in the UP for like actual dangerous undercurrents. You could easily, if you weren't comfortable doing the water crossing on our logs, you could easily walk across it and get wet feet at most.
As I do, you guys definitely do a great job. Even different chapters that I have seen people putting out the log bridges and stuff. I'm thinking, man, somebody's got some really good engineering skills here, because there was just no way that would be able to come up with something like that on the fly. But yeah, hats off to you guys when you guys make those log bridges. I did see quite a bit of them up there at Grand Sable. So yeah, those are definitely nice. Keep the feet dry. So how does someone get involved with your guys' chapter? I mean, besides, Facebook or just reaching out, any other ways we can get involved?
I can count 3 or 4. Facebook is one. I mean, social media is out there. I think every single chapter pretty much has a Facebook page or a way to connect with them that way. We used to carry around little applications, one single piece of paper that we would have at live events, when we were at a town festival with a booth set up. And we do hand that out, but that's a pretty rare way of getting anyone to sign up nowadays. It's mostly online. And North Country Trail Association headquarters, through their website, has set up a very easy reach out tool. It used to be that you had to sign up and be a member. You would have to sign up to be a member, and then you would get connected with a chapter. Now you can basically go on a website and say, I'm interested, with no commitment, and receive your message and steer you to the nearest chapter to you. So all you do is you go on and say, I'm interested, with a very simple form. And then we come to you and invite you to chapter events. And like I always say, it's volunteer work. So there's no commitment. You want to come out and join us? You're absolutely welcome. You want to come out once a year, every single time? That's great.
Now, are you guys on like Instagram or anything else like that?
No, I don't. We don't really have an Instagram set up. There is an account that's associated with us, but it's not actively managed by our church. Is the one that
Am I still there?